Hello, 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 and welcome to the Rag Company podcast. I'm Dane Hennen. To my right, Levi Gates.
Yeah, I hit there, Levi.
Every time now. And across from me, Anthony Fisher.
What's going on?
And last but not least, Morgan McMurry.
Hello.
Welcome, everyone. This is the Rag Company podcast, where we have fun. We talk about our weekends, of which this was a 3-day weekend. But we also talk shop. We do a little detailing stuff, car stuff here and there. So it's a good mix, I would say. But guys, do we have any specials? Anything we should know before we dive into our weekends? Because I always do this. I go, oh, let's talk about the weekend. And then Anthony or Levi butts in and says, actually, and then we get derailed. So I just want to get that out the way.
The sale's over.
The sale's over. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. So basically, we had a sale over the weekend. Memorial Day went from Friday to Monday. It was 15% off store-wide, so hopefully you guys picked up some good stuff, whether it was detailing chemicals, towels, accessories, you name it. We know that we've been really busy lately trying to keep up with all the orders. So if you did place an order, yours hasn't shipped out yet. It'll probably be shipped out today or tomorrow. We're just catching up over the weekend still. But it was a great sale. Everything went really, really good. We have another couple sales lined up. I think for next week or possibly this week, we'll have to kind of keep you guys up to date. But if you haven't already, follow the Rag Company on Instagram, follow the Rag Company on Facebook. That's where you'll stay up to date on the latest sales and whatnot. And then also sign up for the Rag Company newsletter, because when you sign up, and if you haven't signed up already, you get 15% off your first purchase. So make sure to do that. If you're new to this and you haven't used that coupon code, definitely check that out. So that was pretty much it in terms of all the new stuff. And then, of course, if you've been unaware of the Everyday Value line that we launched a couple weeks ago, we have that out along with the brand new towel, the Liquidator, which is our new
go check it out
for the Everyday Value line. So you want to go check that out as well, because it's a killer freaking towel.
Oh, yeah. Amazing deal for what it is. Like, it does incredible work. But I'm super excited about that. Let's see. So why don't we go around the horn? Morgan, what did you do for this extended weekend? What went on at the McMurry household?
You know, exactly what you would expect, which would be... Why are you already laughing?
Homemade goods, Mama Kelly, making some delicious stuff, some treats, making some fun activities for you and your little brother.
We would expect.
Yeah, I did see a car crash. Well, I didn't see the crash, but I was driving to my parents' house on, I think, either Saturday or Sunday around 1:30. And the freeway, like at that hour, is never backed up. It's never, never stop and go traffic. And I was like, oh, maybe it's just like Memorial Day, like everyone's trying to get off the Eagle exit. Like maybe it's just a very busy day today. And I was like, whatever, weird. But I just, kept chilling, stopping and going. And then all of these police cars and fire trucks and like ambulances were coming up on the shoulder, like just flying past. And I was just like, what is going on? And finally I get up, like it probably was stop and go for like 5 miles from like literally where the freeway connects all the way up to the Eagle exit was like just completely backed up. And so I was like, oh, weird. And then finally, I think right past the Cloverdale overpass, there's like a canal that's right next to the freeway. And I didn't see any cars when I pulled up there. Like I was like, expecting for there to be like car parts everywhere and like, wheels and bumpers and everything strewn across the whole freeway.
Something came off, right? Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, this is like a lot of police cars. Obviously, like something's happening. But then all I could see was like the guardrail on the side was just smashed for like 60 feet or so. It was a big chunk of it. It was just smashed. And then there was no cars. And I was like, that's weird. And I was thinking like, oh, maybe like they went off of the freeway, like all the way into like the shoulder or whatever. But I was like, well, I can't see anything. So I just got off and did what I needed. And then on my way back, I saw there was like one of the fire trucks had gone down into the like little ditch area, like backed up to the canal. And I think that there was a car that went in there.
All the way down in. Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I think somebody had the horrible luck of not only like either falling asleep or whatever they did to go off and like bust through the guardrail, but they had bad enough luck for it to be right where the canal was.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, so I saw that probably the most eventful thing that happened. Other than that, just eating barbecue and watermelon and potato salad.
Seedless watermelon or seeded watermelon?
Seeded.
Okay.
Because
that's a choice.
Well,
it's OG, man.
It's unnatural to eat something that's been genetically modified to not want to reproduce. So.
Well, see, I would argue that because I think that a seedless watermelon is basically superior to a seeded watermelon in terms of bioengineering that stuff.
Do you know what the point is of fruit?
Yeah, to be a delicious and nutritious treat.
No, it's to continue on the species of watermelon. So
why the apple doesn't fall far from the tree?
Why would a watermelon not want to spread the watermelon kind?
Let's just ask Dane. Dane, do you want to have kids?
Dane is the seedless watermelon.
I've experienced enough time around other people's kids to like,
but Dane,
oh yeah, kids are always different. Great.
No,
kids at the
you
same
can't use that logic. You can't use that logic. Your kids are totally different because you'll raise them differently.
I know, they'd be totally different.
Other kids you don't like. Your kids are fine.
Oh no, my kids would be thinking, overthinking everything because I would just inherently give them that wonderful superpower of like, but what if?
Seeing all the fun stuff you could do.
Sorry, Morgan, you can continue on.
Sorry.
Thank you, Anthony. So enjoyed an array of different fruits, obviously, not just watermelon, but also strawberries with seeds, grapes with seeds, pineapple.
All the seeded fruits.
Yeah. So that was really great, really awesome. Hung out with Addie, hung out with the dog. And that was pretty much it.
Wow.
Okay. But it was a lovely time. So
lovely, long, relaxing weekend, beautiful weather, tranquility, everything that I could ever imagine.
Nice. Very nice. And the best part was it shaved a day off of this week, so now you have a shortened week.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally
all right.
Levi, you did quite a bit this weekend.
I took on a massive project, some would say the biggest project of my life.
Wow.
But it felt good. So this weekend was going to be the start of the Get Organized Levi weekend. Part of the organization solution package at the MOS HQ was going to be put into effect. However, when I woke up on Saturday, I had a honeydew list I had to get through. So I had to mow, I had to weed eat, I had to clean up. As many of you know, the Dothraki pleasure tent was destroyed, horrifically destroyed in the massive storm of was it like
the great windstorm of 2020?
May 2020.
If someone goes back to our Q&A when we had John from Forensic Detailing on, you actually showed it. You walked outside and showed the damage.
Yeah. Anyway, so I finally tore that down. And so I spent the day after mowing and doing all that. I got it all torn down, put it in a pile, get ready to take it to the dump. I cried a lot of tears as I tore it down because it's such a beautiful thing. But no, I actually reached out. I spent the last 2 weeks trying to find parts and replacement items for it with no luck. Found the website, tried to order from the website, called customer service. It was absolutely nightmare. Basically, they don't want you to replace anything, even though they have a parts list and a price.
They want you to replace the whole unit.
So I thought, God dang it, I don't want to, buy another one right now. So had a great idea. Went to Home Depot, picked up 2 4x4 posts, sunk them in the ground. Now, while I was digging those post holes, Matt Gibb called me. We had a great discussion about buffing pads and soaps and rinseless technology while I dug 2 post holes, sunk those posts, I didn't use concrete because I want to be able to take them out if I need to. So I just set them in with the rest of the dirt, hung some hooks on it, and then strung a sun sail.
Did you maybe even do any paver sand in there to help keep it sturdier?
Nope.
Oh, those posts will fail.
Yeah, I know. They're only going to last for about a year is my plan. So, the master plan for the MOS HQ. It's part of the amenities. So hung the sun sail, which helped a lot. Hung some lights. We've got another sun sail coming today, so we can expand it out, make it a little bit prettier, a little better. But for right now, I wanted to do something cheap, inexpensive, get us through the summer, and then maybe actually look at actually constructing some sort of pergola or something outside to be a more permanent structure on the house.
Maybe
so that was
you do something kind of like a Greek Parthenon back there.
I could. That could be.
That would be pretty nice,
like a gazebo, but with columns.
Yes,
I think that would look fantastic. And then you could do like a recess area on the patio, right, where you basically dig down a small little like bathing pool, right? You know what I mean? Kind of like they had back,
like a grotto.
Yeah, like exactly a grotto, the MOS HQ grotto. How crazy would that be?
What if you divide it in half? You take what would be the pool, you divide it in half, it turns into a jacuzzi because one half is the pool, but the other half is actually a fire pit, and it kind of warms the other.
Oh, love it. I love it.
Basically, be a combo for every.
Great idea, Dane. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So we can get giant ladles, right? We can actually bathe in that, right? So basically, you take the ladles and we pour it over each other, right?
I'm glad you're not drinking it.
Sounds.
Oh no, Dane. You wouldn't want to drink the water, Dane.
Whatever you do that.
Can't drink that. No. So then, so someday maybe I'll build something on there, but for now, it's kind of like it's an temporary solution to get us through the summer, lower the heat on the house on that side. So did that. Then Sunday just took the weekend off. If many of you know, on the Mommy Mean Jeans on Twitter as well as Instagram, Carly made fun of me by calling me Bob Vila for the weekend. Got lots of great hits, lots of great jokes, comments, things of that nature. Go check it out. But I spent Sunday just kind of hanging out, taking a nap, slept, just was lazy. Then Monday, hit it hard, hit it fast, and did the MOS HQ redo. So cleaned everything out on those two cabinets or two countertops and my shelving unit, and went through. I threw so much stuff away, organized everything, and I even hung the old wheels on the wall. So the two wheels that I replaced on the Elantra last year, I hung them on the wall. So one holds my airlines wrapped around it. So fun little bit of decoration as well. But also got in touch with a woman who has a fence that she needs torn down in the north end. And so I went and looked at the fence, and I'm going to schedule a date to come take the fence down for her. So I'm going to take the boards down, and she's going to have her nephew put new boards up. So I'll just come in, take them all down, and then I can just have those boards. So then I'll create a panel like kind of what is behind Anthony right there, but with actual old boards from a fence. Cool. So, and I'll line one wall in that. So that'll be neat. But the key to that was I needed to clean and organize so I could just pull everything away from the wall, do my wall stuff, push everything back, and be done. So, because I didn't want to do everything at once. So I figured if I break it up, it'll be a lot easier, quicker, simpler. So, but that was my weekend. I do have a detail coming next weekend, but this was the first 3-day weekend I've had. We didn't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do anything other than work on my garage. So I was able to, focus, plan it.
Nice.
However, my wife is still dealing with a ton of tooth pain. So it's having her tooth pulled. So she's got an appointment on Wednesday. So we're going to go in and try and get that handled this week. Fingers crossed. But that was my weekend. Pretty simple. Pretty easy, laid back weekend. It's going to be 100 this week too. So
saw that.
It's going to get hot. So glad I've got the fan set up in the MOS HQ. It's going to stay nice and cool in there. So next weekend when it's 100 degrees, I'll be just fine.
Yeah. That means it's time to go find some like cool down activities, like playing in the river or something. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Anthony,
yeah.
You bought a new Honda this weekend.
A new four-wheeled Honda.
A new four-wheel Honda.
Yeah. So I guess that story begins on Friday. We'll start with the weekend. So Friday night was pretty laid back. Got home from work. I kind of wanted to clean up the house a little bit, so we started doing some just some general house cleaning, right? Just some normal stuff, vacuuming the stairs. Now I did use the new for real, right, on my stairs and on my couch.
Oh, very nice.
Freaking amazing. If you guys haven't got the for real attachment for your shop vac or for your vacuum, man, it really does. It makes a huge difference, man. I'm talking like you have to break it in too, because basically it's a very stiff rubber when you first start using it, but it starts to kind of soften up the more you use it.
Okay.
But yeah, I was able to clean my couch, you name it, do all that.
So Anthony, did you try this? So
yeah.
I vacuumed my bedroom a couple months ago, like a deep vacuum where I vacuumed it and was like, wow, looks great. And then I went over it with the shop vac and a for real.
Ooh,
I went over the whole floor again.
Yeah.
And it was disturbing how much dog hair I was still pulling out, even though the carpet looked nice and vacuumed and clean. When I went over it with that thing, it was like it was pulling dog hair out that I didn't even know existed.
Insane.
And that was freaky.
Yeah.
So.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but pretty much just did that, hung out Friday night, played some Call of Duty, whatnot. And then Saturday I woke up pretty early because I had a pretty big day. The first thing I needed to do was clean up my garage. So I kind of started doing the same thing and just kind of organizing my corner. I haven't tackled Katie's corner yet. So started doing that, but then I needed to install this shifter in my Civic. So I got this shifter from a company called K-Tuned, and they make these really high quality, shifters that replaces the whole shifter assembly on the car. And so it's one of those things, right, where you're like, oh, this should take me an hour to do, right? I should be done with this pretty shortly.
Yeah.
Well, it ended up taking me about 5 hours to do, right? Because it was one of those situations where you install a part and then you go and you put everything away, you pull your tools away, you move your jack stands, all that stuff. You get the car on the ground and then you say, wait, this doesn't feel right, right? Why didn't I check this when the car was in the air and all my tools were everywhere, right? It was just kind of like assuming things went okay. Well, long story short, after sitting there for, it's like that meme where you see the guy like laying underneath the car and his legs are crossed and you don't know whether the guy is, whether like he's totally messed something up or if he's just trying to like take his time and figure out that's exactly what it was. I'm laying under my car for like an hour trying to figure out what the heck's going on. Basically what it was, I was having an issue to where it was shifting into second, fourth, and reverse perfectly, but it was not shifting into first, third, and fifth properly. So I get back into the car, take everything apart, do it all over again. And then I come to realize that I have on my shifter linkage, there's a counterweight basically right behind where the ball joint is. The ball joint was hitting the counterweight and it didn't say anywhere in the instructions that you had to remove that thing. So I'm sitting here, car's in the air. I've already disassembled my stock shifter. I'm 5 hours into this and I'm like, what do I do? Do I put everything back together or do I try to rig something up? And I was so mad that I pulled out my Dremel and a metal cutting wheel, laid underneath my car with about a foot. My car is probably about 1.5 feet in the air, laying under my car, and I'm dremeling this counterweight off of this shifter linkage at probably the most dangerous angle I've ever worked. Right, I'm talking like Dremel was probably a couple inches away from my face, and sparks are flying everywhere. But you know what? I was so pissed that I just got it done, and sewed everything back up, worked flawlessly. And I'm talking like the biggest difference. My car, it doesn't even feel like the same car right now. Like shifting feels like I'm driving like like a race car or something. It's very,
so you got one of those like really tall shifters like the hot rodders have and pops out the sunroof.
Well, so you can adjust it, but it's kind of like if you've ever questioned whether you're in life, like, am I in? Is it in? Right? Now, right? Like that shifter, it gets it in.
Yeah.
And so
I know that's always been an issue for you. So
well, it's either long enough or short enough, however you like to do it. So it's just a nice it's a confirming feeling.
Good feeling.
So
point is, so can you get into reverse cleanly now? There's no like fuss.
Oh no, Dane, it's a Honda transmission. Reverse is always going to be a hard thing to get into. You just gotta,
Okay.
just
See,
jam
that's
it
what I
in.
want to make sure, because
It's
having
big.
driven it before, that was the one gear where it was like, oh, come on.
Well, that was when I bought the Elantra. That was one of the reasons of going with an automatic, because I knew the automatic could just
Shifting
shift,
transmission. Yeah.
smooth shifting, as well as rapidly shifting better and faster than I could shift. Hitting those power nodes,
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Torque converter knows what it's doing.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Now,
So
before
yeah.
Anthony moves on, though, Morgan, you can relate to this, can't you? Installing a short shifter kit. Although his wasn't a short shifter now, is it?
This is now a tall shifter.
Yeah, it's taller.
Well,
now.
you can adjust it. So I can have it be short or I can have it be tall. And you can actually adjust not just the length of the shifter, but the throw. So if I want it to literally be like like no throw at all, I can change it to where it's literally just clicks in, or I can have it towards the longer throw. It just depends on what you want.
I like to row gears, so I want to
Yeah.
Have you smacked your knuckles on the dashboard yet?
Not yet.
Okay, good.
Just keep changing the temperature because keep hitting the AC.
Yeah.
Just punching the dashboard. Shifter sucks.
Continuing.
Breaking my dash.
So yeah, that was like an all day long project, and it was just like it kind of sucked. But I got it. Everything worked out. It was fine. And then Sunday was another huge day. So I woke up in the morning. First thing I needed to do was sorry, there's just a lot of traffic coming in and out of here. So first thing I needed to do was wake up, start cleaning up the house some more. I told Katie I'd clean the couch and do a deep clean and all of that. And so I ended up using an extractor, right? So I used my little Bissell extractor on the couch, and I had to extract everything, and that made a big difference, right? To get rid of some dog smell and things like that. So I ended up using Terminator on it. So I did basically hot water
in the building.
No, they're drilling.
I think they're drilling something in the office.
It's just an ideal time to drill. So I used hot water in the extractor, and I used about, I want to say it was about 4 or 5 ounces of Terminator inside the extractor as well. And so it was perfect because it didn't foam up too much, but it did the job. You could definitely tell it came out way cleaner. What's going on, Dane?
Dane just turned his camera and it went to his computer screen, which showed only Morgan's face.
Dane, are you watching me over there?
I haven't.
But it's Morgan into Morgan.
She's the one picking up. See, everybody's there.
There we are.
I turned it around because I wanted to mute it so that I could cough and not bug everybody.
Nice.
That was great.
Funny. Okay. So, anyways, after I did that immediately, right, I moved on to the next project, which was repairing rock chips in my windshield on the Civic, right?
So
this is my first attempt at
pulled out the Dremel again.
Pulled out the Dremel again. I sawed through that stuff.
Drilled it out.
So I ordered the Rain X kit, right? It's a Rain X windshield chip repair kit. Pretty good, man. Like, so it's pretty straightforward. Like, if you've used Dr. Color Chip before, then you'll be a pro at this. They need to stop.
Sorry,
drilling.
folks, for that whistling.
Where was I? Tim, you're going to have to cut that out.
You're using the Dr. Color Chip windshield repair kit.
Nope, that's not a thing. So what I was saying before is that Rain X makes a windshield chip repair kit where it's like a resin-based stuff. So if you've used Dr. Color Chip, then this will be a walk in the park for you. So it's pretty good stuff, man. I'm talking like if you have just small, very shallow chips in it, all you have to do is clean the area, kind of pick out any leftover glass with a little razor blade, and then you apply your epoxy to that area, your resin, and then they have this little plastic strip that you put over the top, and it self-levels. After it self-levels and dries, you pull them off and you scrape it off, and you're good to go. And then they also have like a suction cup mount, where if you have anything deeper, it applies pressure to the area that you're filling. So pretty good though. I mean, so I did that. I did the application, I think 3 times to get everything perfectly level. So my windshield looks a ton better after those cinder blocks last week. The chips from those on that truck, that kind of sucked. But so I fixed that. And then while I was in the midst of doing that, I also put together my new patio furniture for my yard. And that was on my honey-do list. So I did that, and that took me like 4 hours to do. But it looks really, really good, and we're pretty stoked on that. And then not too long after that, I washed the Civic, got it all cleaned up, looking good, dressed the tires, and I had to kind of do, just do like a decon on the wheels. The wheels are getting pretty dirty because we didn't clean those for a couple weeks. And then from there, that's when I was like, you know what? I have to mow this lawn, but my lawnmower that I had was 20 years old. Had it since 2000. Since literally the year 2000. And so it was my dad's mower when I was a kid, right? And then we brought it up to Idaho and we refreshed it a couple times. But let's just say it was at the end of its life.
It was time.
The bag had holes in it and everything. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to sell this, right? And if I can sell this, I'm going to go, buy a new vehicle. I'm going to go buy a new one. And I put it on Facebook Marketplace for $60. I sold it within 15 minutes, and then took that money, went down to my Home Depot, and that's where I picked it. I picked up my beauty,
Nice.
Straight off the lot, 0 miles.
A red top.
My new red top. Yeah, my new Honda mower, and
nice.
It's pretty amazing. So took it home, lowered it, obviously. First thing I did,
gotta get some mods done on it. Coated it.
Shot a couple pictures of it. It just felt good to buy like my first new vehicle, right? Like, I work pretty hard. I drive around a 20-year-old Honda Civic, and I've never really gotten anything new. Katie got her new 4Runner, but I've never had anything that was mine. So being able to go to a dealership and point at something and say, that's the one I want. And they say, okay, are you putting any money down? I say, yeah, I'm paying that thing off today. Yeah. And they're like, wow, okay.
High roller.
So,
okay.
Yeah, you're paying cash.
I paid cash. And, bringing it home, unboxing it, it was just something super nice and unwrapping
warranty
it.
Or,
no, I don't believe in that.
I don't believe
So, but the first thing I did though is I coated that thing in Crystal Serum Ultra. Is what I did.
Of course.
Right off the bat, I could not be rolling around in an uncoated vehicle, so I definitely needed to coat that. So I did that, gave that thing a rip, and man, it drives so well. Rear wheel drive, right? Believe it or not.
Unbelievable. I mean, a rear wheel drive Honda, pretty impressive.
Better than an S2000, in my opinion.
Wow.
Absolutely. And it's got enough power. I mean, you know how they'll say drag that person, right? It will drag you. That's how powerful this thing is. And so
very exciting.
I like to think that it has VTEC, even though it doesn't say it, but I think it does have some variable valve timing on there.
Well, what you can do is if you rev it up enough, you could get it to crack. It'll crack that VTEC open. So especially when you're in on like an incline or things like that.
How many cylinders does it have? One?
Well, that doesn't matter, Dane.
Yeah,
it's not something about cylinders.
I'm just wondering how the variable valve timing works on that.
Yeah, on one.
Just the one. It just adjusts as needed.
2 valves.
There a cam involved.
Dane,
I'm just derailing this.
I can't get into the mechanics of this. I'm not an engineer. But if you'd like to speak to Honda, I'm sure I can get you lined up.
Oh,
so
I'm proud of you, Anthony, for purchasing. That's
a new vehicle,
like I said, something I remember when I did that about 6 years ago. I got my little black Honda, a little black top one, and really just a great, front wheel drive. So I'd like to upgrade next to the new model.
Not the best, not the worst.
But still really impressive.
And then let's see. So Sunday night started a new show called Upload. Is what it's called on Amazon. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. We'll see how long that sticks for. But ended up doing that, and then yesterday, which was Monday, Memorial Day, woke up bright and early again. Started cleaning up some more stuff around the house. Kind of kept getting stuff done, and that's when Katie had she was like, okay, I have to shower, I have to do some stuff for a little bit. And I told her I'm going to run down to Home Depot and get some tree fertilizer. Well, I went down there, got my tree fertilizer, started walking the aisles, went to the tool section. And as I was walking, I was like, I'm going to go look at the air compressors. So as you guys know, I had the All Day Anthony air compressor solution package that I copied from him, right? I really liked what he had. And so I wanted to replicate that same
air
thing.
Freshener.
Sure. It's the rigid 6-gallon pancake, 150 max PSI at 2.8 CFM, whatever it was, with the 100-foot long Husky hose. I just love the idea of that, right? So I copied him, but the biggest thing that I can't stand is how freaking loud that compressor is.
Right.
Like I don't think so. I have it in the corner of my garage, so it already is escalated 10 times by, you know, in terms of loudness. But I will actually not turn it on because of how loud. You know, I don't want to use it basically because of how loud it is.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, man, I wish I could find something that was affordable that was really quiet. And that's
Like
when
what
I walked past a Husky silent air compressor, 4.5 gallons, 175 psi, 3.0 CFM. I believe it was around there for $200. And I'm like, ooh, that's pretty nice. So I impulse bought it, took that thing home. And so now I like to think that I have the air compressor solution package 2.1, which is really, really nice. And so plug that thing in. Freaking amazing, man. I'm talking literally just as quiet, if not quieter than what you got, Levi. It's probably the most amazing thing ever. And so
what I like about them, when they're that quiet, you just leave it plugged in.
You could, yeah.
You just leave it on because it's only going to run for a little bit, and the noise is quiet enough that it's not noticeable.
Well, and the vibration is like non-existent, and then it's got wheels on the back, so if I want to roll it, it's got an extendable handle, and it got great reviews. So I was like, okay, I'm buying this thing right now. So amazing, pretty pumped on that. And so needless to say, I'm selling my pancake compressor, which I think it's sold today. And then from there, went over to Katie's grandparents' house, and we did a whole day of fun activities and all sorts of stuff. We do what's called a bottle hunt. So instead of an Easter egg hunt, since we didn't have Easter, we did what's called a bottle hunt. It's where her family will buy typically over 100 bottles of beer, soda, you name it, right? And then hide it around their massive front yard. And then we all grab the things and we go find as many as we can, right? Oh. And so the winner wins a prize, but then you also get to keep all your bottles. So it's a really fun game. I'm talking like they buy Coronas, they buy all sorts of White Claws, you name it. It's all sorts of fun stuff. So,
I'm picturing people who have neighbors who do that, except they're not playing a game. They just leave them in the yard everywhere.
No. Well, what's funny is that sometimes like their yard is their house is massive, and sometimes we miss the bottles and we don't find them, so we'll find the bottles a year later, and they'll be all dusty and dirty, and we're like, this is from last year.
That's great.
So
faded.
Yeah. So we played that game, and we did some other fun things. We did a mask decorating contest, which was really fun. And then it was basically we were celebrating several birthdays and the Easter that we didn't have, basically. Yeah. And so really fun. And then came home to a big surprise. So about a month ago, I ordered a new helmet for my motorcycle. It's a Rye Corsair X bracket in red and black. It's my favorite looking helmet I've ever seen. Ordered that thing, and it was shipped out a month ago, and it had tracking for about 4 days, and then it landed in Allen Park, Michigan, where it has sat for 3.5 weeks with no movement at all. Whoa. You get onto the reviews, and apparently this place is a black hole for packages where sometimes they get delivered and sometimes they go missing or they get stolen. And it's in Detroit, if that helps at all, right? And so basically I've been patiently waiting for 3 weeks. I've heard nothing. I was about to contact the seller and say, hey, I just want my money back because this isn't happening. And after 3.5 weeks, it finally says that it departed Allen Park, Michigan, the hellhole of USPS, and is now on its way. And I am absolutely thrilled. I'm scared that it's going to be broken, but I'm also excited that it's just moving. So just some good news to end
about
the
that
weekend.
Place. We used to have a friend who wrapped fridges, and he would send those through there. He'd sell them all over the country, but they would go through that one spot. And if it was not completely hidden as to what the product was, 9 times out of 10, it got lost in shipping.
Yeah.
And so he had to start encasing, creating, completely hiding the item because he's losing so many.
There's 250 one-star reviews on their Google page of everybody in the same boat being like, oh, this is the black hole of all of USPS in the entire United States where things get lost through. So if you ever ship things through USPS, pray to God it doesn't go through Allen Park. Otherwise, you may not get it, or it may take a month to get it. So, but yeah, so that was me. New vehicle.
Well,
I got a new air compressor solution
such
package.
a weekend.
You know, I got a lot done, clean car, clean couch, you name it. So I don't think anybody can really beat my weekend.
No. And that's why I don't really have anything to share this weekend. So it's
good.
Been fun, but
I think
Dane, are you sure?
I think I won.
Sure?
I think on my comments, on my story, or on my face or Instagram, someone said I actually won the weekend between the four.
Wow. You won the weekend.
Cool. I won it because of my project.
I think there's a lot of credit due towards cleaning up the garage, because I still haven't even done that, and I started that 2 months ago.
Well,
I just haven't gotten around to finishing it. So,
Dane, can you tell us about your docile and quiet weekend?
So what did you do?
Yeah,
just hang out.
I guess I could
just chill, relax.
Yeah, just very chill. Friday rolled around, and I was like, all right, this is going to be a good weekend. Looking forward to having 3 days to just do whatever, chill. Maybe think about looking at, let's say, Memorial Day deals on the lot at some dealerships.
What?
I'm usually not a fan of
Yeah.
I'm not that person. I don't buy new cars. Everybody.
You don't like chain car places.
He doesn't like chain car places. Yeah.
I don't really have
not a fan of. He likes the mom and pops. It's all about the little guy.
I love those buy here, pay here places, right?
We know how that went last time.
Let's just say I'm still waiting on a title for my Mazda. So that's fun. So hopefully that shows up soon, putting some pressure on there. Please.
That's a mom and pop.
And then the mail, otherwise bad things will happen. Okay. So that's fun. In addition, I thought, the C-Max is in good shape here, but it's probably at the peak of what it's going to be worth in terms of how many miles it has, the condition it's in, and everything. From here on out, it's probably just going to continue to depreciate more, which when I bought it, it was already depreciated. I was getting it at a good point in the curve. And I've gotten a lot of great use out of it. It's been a great road trip vehicle and stuff. But I just kind of thought, it's time that I see about perhaps trading it in on something else, seeing what I can do. Once again, I am not a new car user. I don't generally do that. So in this case, it was a big step for me to actually go out and be like, all right, there's some killer lease deals on these Tacomas and 4Runners. And Anthony and Levi have made that very, very clear that it's at least worth looking at. So I did that. I went out there and I looked at what was available. The first place I went was actually the Peterson dealership here up on Fairview. Which is our Boise one. And then there's a Edmark in Nampa. So it's another town over. But I went to Peterson first because it's here in Boise. And very good experience. Very nice people. I met up with Sean there. Sean's a great guy. And he kind of linked me up with the truck. And I was looking at it, going through. And I had some specific things I was looking for. So I was pretty on board with doing a Tacoma rather than the 4Runner. Not just because the lease was cheaper, but because I wanted to have that pickup bed. And I'm trying to replace the Mazda in my line. I want to go down to 2 cars and leave it at that. But I want to I'm always trying to, that, like I talk about the vehicle food groups in my driveway. I want to make sure that I'm satisfying the fun car side of things, but I need to have something that's not just practical in that it can carry people, but I need practical, like I could throw big things in the back if I wanted to.
Right.
TV, like a toilet or whatever. Or toilet, just transport that.
Branches, toilets and branches.
As you do. So I wanted to make sure I had those bases covered, and I frankly couldn't do that with the C-Max and the Jag. The C-Max can haul people, but the cargo area was a little limited. So it was time I decided. Yeah, and that was good, but I felt really bad about dirtying up the nice carpet back there. It's just, for me, it was a thing I could, and I know people like lay down cardboard or lay down a rubber mat or whatever. I get it. But I'm not going to
also, Dane, your dad used a Suburban as a
front loader into the back of the Volvo.
Yeah. Your dad used a Suburban as a truck for a number of years.
Yeah. But he also had a trailer with it. So he would take a little Costco trailer he built, load that up, and then put whatever else could fit in the back of the Suburban. He filled that up with like plants and things.
Yeah.
So I just thought, you know what? I guess I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to get a pickup truck. So, that's what I was looking at. Tacoma specifically. I knew I had a choice between a 2019 or a 2020. And the lease difference was like $30 a month, like at the base level, like what they're advertising. Obviously, there's taxes and all this other stuff. The number goes up a decent amount when it actually comes out the door, regardless of what you do. But they give you a trim level and like, you can pick from these. Here's the pricing. We work from that point on up. So I was looking at them and I decided on the 2020 because I really love these daytime running lights. The LEDs look super cool.
Oh, the best.
Not expensive option, but it looked really cool. And I was like, all right, that's enough to sway me just on aesthetics alone. But the other thing was I really wanted to get what they called like their TRD premium package, which is like heated seats. I don't care about leather interiors as much as people might think. Like I like cloth interiors in the right cars. I think they're really functional and I like that. But the only way to get the heated seats without doing like, the
leather
aftermarket install was to get the package that had all that. But it came with a sunroof and other stuff. So I was like, okay. And a nice JBL sound system and stuff. So I was like, all right, cool. So I guess that's the truck I'm looking at. Well, those aren't cheap. That package is like $4,000. So it was,
whoa.
Yeah. It's like $4,100. So when you're looking at it, you're like, maybe there's an option to, nope, there's no way to parse it out. Like it's literally just that package or you get the kind of stripper model. So it's like, all right.
Stripper models.
Well, I mean, yeah, depending on how new it is,
okay.
it would be great. But yeah.
I believe they call them spinner models.
Oh, no, we are not going down that road. Any rate, the deal with the truck was the one I was looking at was kind of stormtroopered out, right? Like people either like it or hate it, but it was the white one with the black trim, the blackout emblems and everything.
Ooh, yeah.
It looked pretty cool and I liked it, but when it came down to it, I should probably reiterate before this on Friday, I went to CarMax, took the C-Max in to get an appraisal at CarMax just so I had a number that I could run off of. They gave me an offer of $7,500 for the C-Max. Now that is much lower than the trade-in value listed on NADA Guide. I don't use Kelly Blue Book, but I use NADA because NADA is usually pretty accurate. And NADA was listing clean, not retail, but clean trade-in was $9,100. So I could ask for more. And the retail was like $1,213. So it's like, okay, obviously there's some margin here. I know you guys got to sell a car, but at the same time, $7,500 is not enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, I was looking to get probably like 8 or 9 for it. I was hoping, but I wasn't going to sway if I couldn't get that. So that was a big part of it. Because what I wanted to do was trade in the car and not put money down. I'm not trying to bore anybody here, but for anybody else in my position looking to do this kind of thing, I'm just trying to lay it out so they kind of understand what goes into it. So I had this car that I could trade in that ideally would be valued around, let's say 8. And when I went to Peterson, I worked, and Sean was great. Nothing on him. It's just, the normal deal. They go, they talk to the manager and, well, I ran some numbers, but
as they can. They try to get your trade in as cheap as they can.
Yeah, and my game to play back with him was I wasn't going to get screwed on a deal or anything, and it's not screwed. I mean, you're going in there knowing full well you're trying to set up a deal with a dealership, fine. But in my case, I was trying to get the most out of my trade in because I was not wanting to put money down. I was doing this in lieu of putting money down. That was my goal. So my game of trying to balance stuff out was like, if I can get more for this trade, I'm more willing to do this, but the monthly amount also needs to be down to here, and the overall cost is less important, being that it's a lease versus where if I was purchasing it, I want to make sure I had the overall out the door price obviously lower. But people who are like financial experts always tell you, oh, don't worry about the monthly cost, it's the out the door that's important. I get that. But in this case, I was just figuring out the deal with, okay, I'm going to have this lease for 3 years, so I want to make it manageable in the budget.
But going back, Petersons offered you what for trade-in on the C-Max?
They initially offered me $7,000.
Okay,
for my trade-in.
You gotten a $7,500 offer from CarMax.
But I kept that in my hip pocket. I didn't tell them about that until I got further into the deal. I just wanted to see where they ended up. I didn't want to play this game of like, well, I guess I was playing games, but whatever. So I go into it, figure out where he's going to get me. I get to a certain price where he's offering me $7,000, and the monthly price was just way too much. My credit was really good, but apparently I was like 10 points shy of being the very best, where they're like, if you're 750 or above, you're like, oh, you're in the super elite category. And I was like, well, I'm looking to make a deal here. So unless I'm, you bump me into that category, I could just as easily walk away today. I mean, it's got to work for me. So they're like, okay, the only way we can get it down to this. They tried. They ended up bumping it up to $7,300 for my trade-in, and they got the monthly down to like $380. But it was still, I just wasn't happy with it. So I was like, all right, apologize. I worked with them for a few hours, but I told them, I was like, I'm not looking to waste your time. It's just, this is what's going to happen. Otherwise, I can't do it today. So he tried, but he just couldn't get it there. So I said, thank you, but I'm probably just going to have to go and, weigh my options elsewhere for a little bit. Maybe I'll come back on Monday. So at that point, I got a picture of the price and the offers that he gave me, all the numbers and everything. He let me take a picture of it.
How's that going?
And what's that? Oh,
Was
I'm
that
hearing,
going?
yeah, an echo.
Oh, you're back. Okay.
Huh, that must be Anthony's. Any rate, so I've got that taken care of, and I go up the road to Nampa, where I head to Edmark. And at Edmark, I basically go up to the first Tacoma I see that looks similar to mine that I had at the other dealership, the white one, except this one is silver. So it's silver, but it's got everything else is exactly the same. Blackout package, all that stuff. Yeah. So basically, it got to a point where I went over to Edmark. I just found the first salesman who would come up and talk to me about the Tacomas. And I said, all right, I want to make a deal. Here's the numbers I have from the other dealership. If we could beat these, I am definitely interested in leaving the lot today with the truck. So I just want to make it up front. This is what I want to do. If you can't do it, all right, fine. But this is where I'm at. If you can make something work, then let's talk. And he was very nice, very helpful. Guy's name was Brody. And he just
that's a car deal. That's a car salesman's name right there.
Well, he's like a big Toyota guy. He's from Oregon. He had like a bunch of off-roady stories about his 91 Tacoma or Hilux pickup, whatever you want to call it. So no, he definitely lived and breathed Toyota, but he definitely likes the newer ones. Everybody made a big deal about the 2020s having a power seat. Apparently, Tacomas before that never had power seats ever. So that was interesting. But okay, detouring a little bit here. The point was I wanted to make it work. So I had to beat 7,300 on the trade, and I had to get the monthly down to something a little closer to like 300, 350. That's where I was shooting for. I was close at the other place, but I knew I was like, unless it's just right, I'm not gonna settle for less, as long as I know there are other options out there. So I went over to Edmark thinking there's different inventory. Maybe they'll play a different game. They have more cars here, as it seems, than the other place did because they're going through them so fast. Yeah, Tacoma sells, surprise, surprise, here in the Northwest. So I knew I was kind of playing against a tough one there because you're trying to beat the clock. Other people want them too. But when it came down to it, I got him to offer me 7,900, and then I got it up to 8 for the trade after some negotiation there. And I got the price to a certain point where it made sense for me. It was closer to like 350 a month. So for me, that worked, and that was about the right spot. And I got it to a 2-year lease rather than a 3-year, which the dealership's happy about because they get a car back sooner or miles. They can sell it for more when the time comes. But I also have more equity in it when it comes time to return it, so that's also positive.
Wow. Right. So you don't know whether or not you're going to buy it yet at this point, right? You're not sure.
Right. Yeah. So I was still on the fence a little bit there, but I wanted to just go out, check out the truck.
But if they might,
yeah,
in 2 years they might do a full redesign. So it's be you get the potential to get a brand new Tacoma if they completely do a frame off, redesign of the truck because it's getting close.
Yeah, people get hung up on the whole thing like leasing versus buying. Some people like make fun of people for leasing something because they're like, "Oh, you're just renting it," whatever. It's like, well, you're on the hook for an amount, but you're only on the hook for like that particular frame of time. You're not on the hook for the whole car, which is appealing to me when I'm looking to have at least one car in my driveway that is supremely reliable, can count on to do all the stuff I want, and still I expect to have a car payment. Like that's just something where some people are like, "Oh, I'm going to pay off that car like as fast as I can." No, I kind of anticipate, okay, I'll have a car payment. I'll deal with that. But it could either be the C-Max car payment, which I had, or it could be this, a much newer vehicle that, has 38 miles on it. And work out that way. It's like, okay, it's a small difference and the insurance is virtually the same. So all things just look a little better this way. So I think going forward, I am going to stick with the policy of like this particular slot in my driveway. I'll just keep leasing. I think I'm happy with that idea. And I think for certain people, it does make sense.
Well, and you look at some of our friends like Detailers Domain and those guys, they lease cars. They still modify them.
Yeah.
But what they do is they remove all their mods right before their lease is up. So
and that's what I'm thinking. It's like I'm going to do very
kind of
basic modifications
well,
that
and it
I
might
can
be
then sell later.
Well, one thing, Dane, you could do, a very simple one, would get some wheels from our friends at Mamba for the Tacoma with a nicer, maybe more aggressive set of tires, so it just looks a little meaner. And then save those tires, and
exactly.
then just put them
on
and
tires and
wheels, and put them on. All you had to do was
do
wheels and tires on the truck, but you could put those on the next one.
Right? No,
or
that's
sell
a great idea.
So, and like you said, roof rack and things like that could be transferred over to the other vehicle. There's some simple stuff that you could do that are cosmetic, that aren't.
I really want to get just a roll up, soft tonneau cover for the back bed, because that's good for gas mileage, and you can still access most of the bed, unlike those like trifold ones. I want one that just folds up so I get the whole bed. But folds up. So I ended up picking it up. The guys detailed it and actually did a nice job cleaning it up. It's my fault the front windows are streaky because I rolled them down. It was a nice day and I wanted to enjoy it. But that was the tail end of Saturday. I picked up the car and drove off the lot, extremely happy. And I shared some pictures with you guys and said, I did a thing. So,
I also love that you picked Elantra Silver. Beautiful color.
It's
nice
a good color.
Toyota using the Elantra color palette.
It's a slightly darker silver.
It is.
Yeah, it's a slightly darker silver than my C-Max was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a nice little improvement. It looks really good in the garage next to the Jag. So it's a nice little pairing there. I was very happy.
Dig it.
But so that was my Saturday. Super stoked about that. And I look forward to having some adventures in it, going camping. I want to get like a bed tent, kind of deal. Do something like that. Just make simple camping that way. Yeah, I look forward to doing that kind of thing. But other than that, that was my Saturday.
What are you going to do about the back seat when you take Callie?
It's really nice, actually. The bottom chunk folds forward, and then the back folds down and creates a perfectly flat surface. And it's just like black plastic. So I can put like a dog bed on top of that.
Oh, perfect. She'll be able to ride around.
Yeah. It'll be cushy. She'll be happy. And plus the rear window opens. It's a little power operation deal. And it's nice. So I look forward to doing that. And I'm very happy. I know this is like one of those things where like people are, why do you care so much? The back windows actually roll all the way down. Sometimes you get vehicles on the rear windows. They stop because of either a wheel well stops them, or it's not always for just child safety, but it's just these ones they go all the way down.
Well, my Jeep, my ZJ that I had, the windows barely went down like maybe that much in the back for some reason.
It's annoying.
That was just how they just stopped right there, and so the windows.
And they like go at an angle or something.
Yeah, the rear windows never went down all the way. The Elantra go down all the way except for maybe about an inch because of the.
Which, if you want to rest your arm out, it just you dig into it. It sucks. So don't sit in the back of those cars. But so that's where I'm at there on Saturday. On Sunday, I came into the office here. I did a little bit of work. I was measuring my brake calipers and everything on the Jag for Koenig wheels. I want to get some like ampliforms or something to put on the Jag. So I'm looking to do something there. I think that would look cool. Bronze wheels. That's the way I got to go in a black car. I think that'll look good. But that's what I'm leaning towards. I just needed to make sure I had good dimensions because, I got to be the weirdo. I like having unusual cars, and that meant that they didn't have much data at Koenig for the Jaguar XKR. So I'm actually helping them improve their data set. So that's nice.
Very nice.
But at any rate, that's what I thought about doing there. So I've got that covered. And then I also gave it a wash. I washed it down, got rid of all the ugly water spots. It looks very nice and properly shiny black now, which I posted a picture on Instagram, Facebook. People saw that looking clean. But I was stoked about that. And that was pretty much my weekend. On Monday, I just hung out with a buddy, kind of just met up with him. Hadn't seen him in like 2 months. He'd been going stir crazy. Just his job wasn't having him go out. He has like a little apartment. Poor guy was just bummed, to say the least. So he just needed some like actual human interaction. I just want to go and talk, hang out, like, go for a bike ride or something. So just, nice. But anyway, that was pretty much my weekend. And I guess that kind of wraps us up there.
Nice.
Well, Dane, congratulations on the new rig. It's glad to see. I'm glad to see 2 new vehicle owners here within this podcast group. I mean, it feels pretty nice.
It does.
I'm really proud of you guys as the elder statesman here in the company media team. Kind of the father figure. I'm proud of each of you.
Thank you.
Doing that. It was such a great weekend. Morgan, I'm just proud that you went to your parents' house, spent the weekend with your mom. So
Spent some time with Kelly and Matt. That's really nice of you.
Kelly
They
Matt.
miss you a lot. They
I
tell
know.
us all the time.
So good. Kudos
Yeah.
to all three of you for having such a great weekend, being such great children to your parents, and doing these things that adults do. So I'm very proud of all of you. So good.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well,
so
Dane-
I need to take the torch from Levi for cleaning up the garage. That's the next step. Now I got this truck. I'm gonna sell the Mazda. There'll just be 2 cars in the driveway. I'm gonna clear out that whole garage. That's the mission next.
The purge is what they call that. I like that, Dane.
Oh, there'll be purging indeed. All right.
Purge
So-
Dane's garage.
Okay, so that wraps us up for this week. But guys, you have anything left to add before I take us away?
Take it home, Dane.
No.
All right. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. If you're listening on iTunes, please leave us a review and a star rating. It doesn't have to be a long thing, just a little something. You can say one word. You can say nice or bad or whatever you want to say. Just say something. Let us know how we're doing, where we can improve, things you'll like about it, and we'll take it in stride. So we really appreciate that. It gets us in front of more people. Also, another important tip, subscribe to us on YouTube. If you haven't already, you know we have the Rag Company YouTube channel, but we also have the Rag Company podcast YouTube channel. That's where we include our long-form interviews with guests from around the industry. That's what this is. And we do some fun stuff. And occasionally we'll pop a clip from one of these over onto the main channel just to let you know we're over there. But please subscribe to both. It really makes a difference. So thank you, and we'll catch you next time. Adios.
See ya.